a little chilly down here. It's about 38 degrees outside right now, and this part of the house isn't heated. It's been a bit since I made my last YouTube video. Probably about a year. And I thought I'd give an update on life while sitting next to one of my dream bikes. This is a 1967 Norton P11 Desert Racer. From the factory, it would have weighed about 370 pounds with fluids and would have made about 55 horsepower. In 1967, 1968, it held the #1 plate for desert racing, which is fairly impressive when you consider that engine was designed in the 1940s. It was an antique the day it was made. The day it rolled off the line, this was outdated. Little Japanese motorcycles were just so much faster and so much lighter, but this, it was like the last hurrah for Norton, which used to be one of the best racing companies. They made some of the best motorcycles in the world between the period of just before World War II until the mid-60s. And then, you know, the Japanese put everybody out of business. My father, between the years 1967 and 1977, rode a Norton Atlas that was made in '67. He rode it for a decade, including through 4 winters. It's the bike by which I judge all others. It is the bike I most wanted growing up. I have so many memories. I would sneak out to the garage from the age of 7 until I was in my mid-20s to go sit on Dad's Norton Atlas and just daydream. And a bit after he died, around 2009, he died in '07, I was forced to sell it. And when I had to sell it, I had this idea that I'd probably never own another Norton because I knew I couldn't afford them. The basket cases go for several grand, and I never have several grand anymore to just spend on shit. And then a buddy of mine got this one for $400, and I traded him a BMW sidecar rig I'd been building out of Soviet motorcycles and using a BMW engine. And I traded that to him after somebody in my family gave me a 2012 Euro Retro, which made the bike I had been building redundant. So I gave that to Liam, and he gave me this. That is the exact same engine that was in my father's Atlas, down to the year, the magneto ignition, the gearbox. This is the engine I grew up dreaming about. This is a dream motorcycle, and for my style, the way I like to ride, this is actually better suited for me than the Atlas would have been. Also, I'm free of the thought of this is my father's motorcycle, so I can't really do anything to it. It will be done in a couple of months, I hope. There is some stuff that still needs done that I can't do. For example, and I mean, look at this. I mean, you know, like the gas tank screws down, and it's just, oh. The problem with Nortons, though, is everything expensive. This was $400. That was $400. The magneto, buying one new would be $800. That magneto in there is about $1,000 in good condition, and it's broken, and it would cost $800 to rebuild it. And I don't have $800 to spend on a magneto ignition right now, so I bought, where is my little box of, I bought a electronic ignition that will fit inside the magneto, which makes me very happy. These aren't the original, well, there is no rear wheel right now, but this is not the original front wheel for the P11. It would have been much smaller. It would have been a smaller brake, a single leading shoe, I believe. And I plan on riding this in traffic a fair amount. So this is actually a commando brake drum. Wow. This is an 8-inch twin leading shoe front brake off of a Norton Commando. This is as good as drum brakes got on sort of non-race bikes in the 60s before everybody started going to discs. And this is better than the disc brakes that originally replaced them in the early 70s. They're just, disc brakes are lighter and cheaper to manufacture. And now Brembos and other, modern disc brakes are infinitely better than this. But then you've got all this shit up on the handlebars, whereas all you have with the drum is the lever and the cable, and I am in love with that. Also, my father upgraded the front brake on his Norton Atlas with the twin leading shoe commando hub brake plate, which makes me very happy that I have it. I'm basically building a sort of a combination between the P11 and an Atlas, because I'm going to be riding more on the road than off-road for the beginning. And then in 2 years, I'm going to ride this motorcycle to California and back. And the back part is going to be mostly off-road. So I have found out that you can fit Husqvarna 390 front forks to these triple trees. These are the triple trees here and here. They hold the fork tubes. They're clamped in and then held in with a bolt up top. So next year, in about 13 months, I am going to buy and install a much longer front fork and install much longer rear springs, and then I will have an off-road motorcycle. And I'm going to make it so you can switch back and forth in an afternoon. Something I did for this bike, which is the most money I have spent, was for this. Hold on, I'll be right back. These are modified fork internals, which will mount in here, you see? And these are dampeners out of a 2007 Honda CBR 600 RR with custom wound springs attached, which a fellow modified in a lathe to fit into the road holder forks. So I will have much more modern front end than it will look like I have, which delights me. And that makes me very happy. So the bike's coming along, and then behind it, there are so many bikes in here, it's just silly. So here we go. Let's do a little tour now, because why not? So you've got my P11. This is my friend John's Harley 1974 Harley 1000cc Sportster, which ate its gearbox a few years back. He's now got a couple little kids, so we've been sort of slow going on fixing it. The needle bearings we pulled out of the gearbox were square. They're supposed to be round. But I like having these two bikes sitting next to each other. And then back here, we have the remains of an XS400. My friend John's 1973 BMW R75/5. My friend John's 1977 KZ1000 A1, which still needs top-end work. I got this in 2008 I got this in 09. In 2008, I rode a KZ1000 police bike cross-country and grew to hate these motorcycles and four cylinders in general after it broke down 5 times and dumped a quart a day on my left leg. For all the shit English bikes get for being not oil tight, they at least knew to run the alternator cables out the top of the case instead of below the oil line like the Japanese did on this one. And then that one is, I think, one of the ugliest bikes ever built, 750 Virago made by Yamaha, which was Yamaha's attempt to go from building bikes that look like this to bikes that look like this. And they hadn't quite gotten it right yet. God, I can't wait until it's just my basement again and all of these other people's motorcycles are gone. That is the bike I got in exchange for, no, I didn't get this in exchange for anything. This is the bike that was given to me, which made my other bike redundant, which allowed me to trade it to Liam for the Norton. And then in here we have my machine shop. That is a Bridgeport milling machine. It's basically a commercial milling machine from the early 80s. They've been around for a long time. This is a South Bend lathe. You can swing 16 inches of steel at up to about 3,000 rotations per minute. And between these two machines, I should be able to make my own engine internals for motorcycles. And then, you know, there's like the array of gas tanks that are unused and oil tanks on the bottom shelf. My boiler. Steve McQueen on the wall, because, you know. And then in the bathroom, there is, please, I'll try not to let you see the toilet, but that is this bathroom, by the way, has to get gutted. It's fucked. But anyway, so that is a 1967 Honda Dream. It's a CB190. Also my friend John's. And that is a Raleigh 3-speed, which was my father's, which eventually I'm going to turn into an old motorcycle from the teens. And this, down here, was my father's lathe. It needs some work. It was in a car accident. And that's an 11-inch swing lathe. And I'm going to turn it into a collet turret lathe. And then under the stairs is the remains of my father's milling machine, which was also in the same car accident, but more fucked. And there's the original legs for the blue lathe, the Logan, which got broken in the accident. And I need to kind of sit down now because my chest is really beginning to hurt. So, say hi, it's Steve McQueen. So, the update on life. I'm now on real pain meds again. So I'm moving around better than I have in years. I've quit smoking pipe tobacco and pot, although that's a fairly new thing. I'm on the patch. I have to build myself up to go on this trip in 2 years. Right now I weigh under 150 pounds. I weigh 148 and I've gained 9 pounds since I was last at the doctor's. I should weigh 185. I should have muscle. I'm 6'5". I'm in treatment for, I say a lot and that gets really annoying in the video, so I apologize for that. I'm in treatment for my PTSD. And I'm looking forward to building my body up and doing some work to the house, getting the Norton on the road. If I can build myself up over the next 2 years, I think I'll be able to go back to work, which would be amazing, and have a social life again. And, you know, people who overwork themselves, they say, "Oh, I don't have a social life," and what they mean is they never really, they don't get out to go eat, or go to the bar, or go to the movies, or whatever. When I say I don't have a social life, what that means is I spend weeks at a time without going outside my house. I spend several days at a time without seeing any human beings at all. I'll go 2 or 3 weeks at a time without seeing anybody other than blood relatives. You know, I don't get out anymore much. I only ride the motorcycles intermittently at this point. And it's very hard to, you know, not see people. This is the first time I've been in the basement in 3 weeks. But that's okay. I'm really lucky. I have a house, I have a machine shop, I have a garage full of motorcycles. Most of them aren't mine, but I do have a garage full of motorcycles. I have a great stereo, I have a nice cat, I have good family, I have amazing friends. I don't get to see them much anymore, but I have amazing friends. You know, it's all okay. There's just lots of pain and the complex PTSD, which is unpleasant. But it's getting better. And I have hope. So I guess that's really just the update on life. There's not really much else to say. There's not much going on. That's pretty much why I stopped making YouTube videos. There's just, you know, there's nothing to talk about. All I do is, you know, all I've been doing the last few years is trying to move as little as possible because movement equals pain. But now that I have real pain meds, as opposed to what I was on before, which was 3,600 milligrams a day of non-narcotic nerve painkillers, which put me in bed for 5 years, cost me my teeth have totally gone to shit. I have the teeth of a 50-year-old Englishman from 100 years ago. It's pretty terrible. But things are improving now. There's hope. That's all that matters. So that's my update. I'll upload this, and I'm going to go back upstairs and continue to try to distract myself from the fact that I really, really, really want to smoke my pipe tobacco, which is why there is no pipe tobacco in the house. And I boxed up all my pipes this time, so like I won't even see them and get tempted, although there's one sitting right over there, but I'm not going to do anything because it's time to quit. And because of the syndromes, like the Klinefelter syndrome is low testosterone, so it's hard to put on weight and it's hard to put on muscle, and it's hard to keep both. And then there's the chronic pain syndrome, the fibromyalgia, and the PTSD. The point is if I continue to smoke, there's no chance I'll ever get in shape. And I have to get into shape because I'm 31. If I don't get back into shape now, one, I'll never make it cross country on a bike again. And two, my 40s are really going to suck because I think I'm coming up on the point of no return. As in, the older I get from here on, the harder it's going to be to get my body back to where it was before I ended up in bed for 5 years. So the time is now. I would give you a tour of the rest of the house, but I don't want to. So that's it, and I'll be making videos that have to do with machine shop, machine tools, making shit, making steam engines, making motorcycle parts. And I'll also be making videos of the Norton restoration, and then there are also videos of, you know, there will in 2 years, for those who wish to wait, there will most certainly be videos of the off-road trip back from California. Anybody who's never driven cross-country or ridden a motorcycle cross-country really should. It's so much better than flying because this country, the United States, east to west, is just, the beauty is just incredible. And if you have the time, take state highways. All right, that's it. Peace.